We'll be live!
Hello.
Hi, everyone. So we switched spots. This is awkward. Okay, we're not used to this. But I was thinking when I'm looking at my screen, I'm looking this way, right? So if we switch spots, it looks like I'm just looking into the void, right? But now that I'm on this side, now I look like I'm looking at Susie. Hi, Susie. Hi.
Hello. Welcome to the Atheist Republic News Show.
Yes. We're going to be covering 10 news items about atheism and religion and secularism, like we do every week. Thanks to Susanna and Dee and everyone else on the Atheist Republic team. We cannot mention their names, who prepare all of this news and do the fact checking and all the things to make sure that the news is accurate and everything, so that we bring them to you. Okay. And also we give you our opinions on them. If you like that, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you have hit the bell notification, and also I've been saying this on the Persian show, so I'm going to say it here now as well. This show is haram upon you if you have not liked this video, right? So yeah. So that means that we have deemed it haram, like this is our video, and we are making it haram for you if you don't like the video. That means that in the afterlife, you will burn if you just don't like the video because you just watched the video, without accepting our conditions. Okay, this is how Islam works, right? So like the video before you start watching it. This is how our channel maybe starts to grow. If you like these videos, and leave a comment after the stream is over, that also helps. All right. Oh crap, you're right. Something I don't remember saying. We always commit haram anyways. Damn. This is not working in our favor. Yes. Okay. All right. So we should. Susanna, do you want to mention anything about what the news is today? Like, how is it? Is it sad? Is it?
We have mostly some juicy things.
Oh, we should have added Facebook because we can stream on Facebook now. So I don't. But for next week,
it's back.
It's back. Yes.
Oh damn. Okay. Well, damn. No, we mainly just have some juicy news stories this week. I mean, there's some stuff that's sad, but it's mostly juicy.
Okay, and what countries are we covering the most?
UK, USA, Iran, Afghanistan, India, Israel, India, and Saudi Arabia.
Nice. See, we are very international here. Oh, Dee is here too. Hi, Dee. Saying hello in
hello in Vandalize.
I love it. All right. So let's just get started. Can we clap for the first news? Is it clappable news?
Yes, this is hilarious.
Okay, good. First news.
Sexy Demi Lovato Crucifix poster banned for offending Christians. A poster promoting Demi Lovato's latest album, Holy FVCK, was banned in the UK by the Advertising Standards Authority, or ASA, after 4 complaints were received. It took them only 4 complaints to ban the whole thing.
4 people.
Yeah. The poster in question depicted Demi Lovato wearing a black and red bondage outfit while lying on a mattress shaped like a crucifix on a red background. The American singer was also, quote, in a position with her legs bound to one side, which was reminiscent of Christ on the cross, according to the ASA. The ASA stated that the poster and album titled linked sexuality with the sacred religious symbol and was therefore offensive to Christians. The watchdog also received complaints about the poster's placement, saying they were placed irresponsibly in areas where children could see them. The poster was removed from 6 locations across London, and the ASA warned the record label not to release similar advertisements in the future. Despite the controversy, Lovato's album reached number 7 on the UK's official albums chart of Top 100.
Okay. What was the official reason for why they took it away in the UK? It was
because it linked sexuality with a sacred religious symbol.
Okay, I thought it was because of the swear word that was on that.
There was a portion of the statement that talked about the swear word, but that wasn't the overarching message, in my opinion.
Because that swear word would seem to me like it's an excuse for something that is more about religion because it was not really a swear word. It was just made to look like a swear word. And if that was the problem, then there's a brand that looks like a swear word, like what is that, SCUK? That has to be banned in the entirety of the UK. That brand, because it sounds like
Oh, I haven't
FUC.
heard of that one before.
Okay,
So that was
okay,
part of it, but then it was also the explicit sexualization of sacred objects. It's sacrilegious.
sacrilegious. So UK is officially now has blasphemy laws. This is like,
No,
isn't
and
that
actually, if you scroll down, you see that Humanist UK actually made a comment about this, where they said Humanist UK has long campaigned to lift the ban on blasphemy in advertising. Free speech is being stifled and offense is being weaponized. Sign our petition to call on the ASA to lift the ban. So apparently, I mean, I don't remember what kind of law the UK has on blasphemy in general. I mean, I know that historically they have had them, right? But this is more of something that's specific to advertising and not a general civil law, in my understanding.
okay? Can we get the cross ban by claiming that um, we're getting turned on by it? No. No, like what if it's your kink? Like I mean, most Jesus is on a cross. The guy is like almost completely naked, except just a little bit, right? And he looks pretty fit, right? And
Mm-hmm.
he's kind of restrained at the same time,
Oh,
right? I bet you a whole bunch of people will find that kind of kinky, right? Can we get four people to complain about that and maybe get the entirety of the Jesus on the
well, I
cross?
mean, that's not in an advertisement, as they would say in the UK. Okay, because this
It
is
is.
specific to an advertising authority.
It is. It is advertisement of religion.
I know, but usually crucifixes with Christ on the cross is seen within the church, in my experience. Like actually within the church, above the altar,
Okay, we could
inside the
allow that.
institution.
We allow that inside the church, but can we get it banned outside of the church because it's too kinky, it's sexy? I mean, we just want to be fair.
No, because they're saying that this is explicitly like
What?
sexualizing it. Okay. It's in a reproduction, not the thing itself is just found by some to be sexy. I think that would probably be the argument. And
Okay,
that it's
well,
also the offense to the Christians
yeah,
is
that's
part
the
of it.
main part. Okay, because would this be banned on advertisement if there was no cross behind her? Like, do we not? Because I've been to the UK, I've seen under buses they have more sexualized ads than this,
I think
right?
so.
Yeah. So it's not about the sexualization; it's about the cross. So yeah, this is not right. Oh yeah. Look, Asian American is saying something. I can't highlight it because it hasn't come up yet on StreamYard. Oh, there we go. Have you all seen Sexy Korean Jesus?
What is sexy Korean Jesus?
I don't know. I'm gonna look it up.
Well, because in San Francisco, we would have a competition every Easter called the Sexy Jesus competition, and everyone goes. And no, Hunky Jesus, excuse me, Hunky Jesus competition. And so the buffest, typically gay men in San Francisco would go have a competition to win if they could get money for being the sexiest Hunky Jesus on Easter in the park. It was pretty awesome. And then
Okay,
they
this.
started having a competition. I think it was for Slutty Mary or for Sexy Mary. And so then they had started having Sexy Mother Mary competitions as well.
Right.
She should have done it with tying herself to the stick.
Wait, I didn't get it. Do you explain this?
Well, like in basically instead of it being a cross, like she's being burned at the stake.
Oh yeah, that would be more in line with Christian belief. Okay, here. D is also correct. Look, Jesus on a cross. I think this is also sexism. Okay, because Jesus on a cross has less clothing than she has. This is sexism. They're saying, well, Jesus only wore an itty bitty loincloth. Exactly. So, how come Jesus is not sexy I mean, as a Christian, you have to be offended. How come people don't find Jesus on a cross sexy? He does look usually fit, doesn't he? Okay, I don't know.
Yeah, but I think that might be partially like because of this like starvation he went through, like because of
No, he has like no, he doesn't look like he's starved. Okay, hold on. He doesn't look like he's a. He looks
Armin
pretty.
wants to be as shredded as Christ on the cross.
Yeah, like most of the time he looks pretty. He looks like he works out. Okay, like I don't know, like this one,
But
right?
where's sexy Korean Jesus? I want to know what this is.
Okay, why can't I zoom in? But look, like you can see visible abs and everything. Like this doesn't look like a guy who's. Look at this. Look at these six pack. He has six pack.
He's
Usually, yeah,
chiseled. He's chiseled.
yeah. This one
Yeah.
looks like he's starving a little bit, but most Jesuses I've seen, he looks like he works out at least a little bit. But I saw Korean Jesus is famous because of that movie.
Miriam is
Um,
saying it's like the Madonna scandal from the 1990s all over again, but far less artistic, more just for shock value. I mean, I guess some people find this shocking. Is this even shocking? I don't know.
yeah,
Maybe it's just because I'm so irreligious. I just like don't even blink.
is this Korean Jesus?
Is this
Or
Korean Jesus?
is this Korean Jesus? This one is too fit.
Wait.
I don't know.
That one is built like a freaking brick wall. Like, yo,
Yeah.
it looks like Yoel Romero on the cross. Holy crap.
Oh, like this is Korean Jesus. Wow. I can't.
This is pretty good.
Yeah.
Mary is
Anyways,
saying for evangelical Christians, everything is shocking. Except this isn't even evangelical Christians. This is the UK.
yeah, we don't. Yeah, that's the UK. It's Christian.
Where
Okay,
Christians are actually a minority now.
oh, Mariam is turned on by Korean Jesus. Um. Okay. To be fair, people who say like, "Oh, I didn't think Christians would be this offended. I thought it was be the Muslims or the Hindus or something like that." Okay. May I remind you, for most of history, stuff far less than this used to get you,
Killed.
burned at the stake. Yeah, like you were used to get burned alive. Okay, I think it's not because of the nature of Christianity that people are less these days are being less offended or showing less reaction compared to the Muslim community. It's because they can't, like because they have been the Christianity has been, um, you know, defeated in many places, right? So it's just a weaker version of what it used to be, right? But I'm almost Susanna. Let me. What do you think? I'm almost sure that if Christianity had managed to come back into power, right, and it was a dominant force as it used to be, it will go back to burning people alive for blasphemy. Like what do you think? Do you agree with that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Okay. Yeah. So don't give any credit to Christianity for not like, oh wow, it seems like it's better now. Okay, it's not better. It's just that they can't. They used to when they if they're able to they would, right?
The people have evolved, okay? And they're not empowered to do so.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So this next one is pretty juicy, and I also have something in the show notes for you to show, which I think will make you pissed. So get
Oh
excited. Are
yeah.
you ready to feel something? And that something you feel is going to be anger.
Oh wait, is this the one the new poll?
Yes. Yeah.
I
But
usually
in the
don't
show
get
notes, I
angry.
have.
Yeah,
No,
I don't
just
usually.
wait. Just wait. In the show notes, pull up the extra image that I
I,
put. But let's
I,
get into this next news. This is really interesting.
Wait, is it clappable?
Yes.
Okay. Next news.
Next news. New poll reveals that Americans have historically low so-called Islamophobic beliefs, or views, I should say. According to a 2020 poll conducted by the Brookings Institution, favorable views of Muslims in the United States have risen from 58% in 2016 to 78% in 2022, with unfavorable views declining from 41% to 22% in that same time period. The poll also found that Americans from both parties are becoming more open to the idea of electing a Muslim president, with the number of Americans who oppose the idea decreasing from 34% to 26%. Additionally, the poll found that Jewish presidential candidates face the least opposition from the general American public. The Brookings Institution attributes the decline in anti-Muslim sentiment to former President Donald Trump's targeting of Muslims during his campaign and presidency, producing an effect of the public rallying behind the group. However, the report also acknowledges that incidents of anti-Semitism and attacks against Muslims have risen in the United States. So this is really interesting. Let me unpack the studies of what this thing from the Brookings Institution found. And I like a lot of their studies and reports that they put out. So they have been tracking for a while how likely different people from different political parties are to vote for a presidential candidate from any given religious group. And what's so interesting is that out of every single religious group, you might think, oh, Americans would have the least opposition to electing a Christian as a president, a Christian candidate as the president. Not true. Both Republicans and Democrats have the least opposition to electing a Jewish president. So for every single religious identity over the years, across political parties, there has been a decline in opposition to electing someone on the basis of their religious belief. So there used to be higher resistance to someone saying, no, I don't want to elect someone because they're Muslim. No, I don't want to elect someone because they're Jewish. Okay, that's declining for both parties. It's declining more in the Democrats, but it's still declining for both parties. But then what's so interesting, Armin, the only group that actually is facing increased opposition to being elected on the basis of their religious identity,
Christians,
is evangelical Christians.
Amazing.
Protestants, it's a down. Catholics, it's a down. But evangelical Christians specifically,
I mean, they deserve
going
it.
up.
What about atheists?
Well, that's what I wanted you to show in the picture that I asked you to pull up.
Okay.
Because the most discriminated against group of potential candidates is atheists, as you see on the end of this graph. By far.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, it's the goddamn Republicans. God damn it, you people.
No, but even amongst Democrats, they still pull very highly in opposition to atheists. Democrats would be more willing to vote for an atheist than a Mormon or an evangelical Christian.
Wait, the other way around. They're more willing to vote for a Mormon than an atheist.
No. Oh, this is what you see on this graph is the percentage of people who oppose that candidate because of their religious identity.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Oppose, yes. Okay, so for Democrats, 20% of Democrats apparently are against atheists for their atheism. Like, they're like, yep, no, you're an atheist, screw you, we won't vote for you. What the hell? 20%?
Specifically to the presidential office. Maybe if it was a different office.
Why?
I know, but this answered, remember, I don't know if it was last week or 2 weeks before, we were talking about how Congress is not reflective of how irreligious the American population is becoming. Like, we have historically high rates of irreligiosity, but we only have 2 openly non-religious people in Congress, which, to be fair, is actually historic in and of itself. Like, it used to be nothing, and now there actually is some representation, so okay. And I was just so frustrated as to why. Well, this is obviously answers as to why. Like, we know that there are a lot more irreligious people in Congress. Statistically, it would make sense. And also, like, I just think it's very likely if you look at like the policies and some of these representatives, like specifically as individuals, I think a lot of them are probably irreligious, but they're not going to come out and say it because of stuff like this.
I know, but even if it's because I don't think it's because of their religion. For Democrats, like if it was because of themselves being Christian, they're not opposing Muslims, right? They're also not opposing agnostics, okay? But if for some reason they have a problem with atheists, look at this. What the hell? I don't understand. What the hell did the atheists do? And also look at the only thing that goes above 50% anywhere in this graph is atheists, is Republicans' opposition to atheists. The Republicans are at war with atheists. Look, it's the only one that is
I know, and they're
majority.
coming really far out and saying it. Like Charlie Kirk had this whole thing with Tucker Carlson recently, where Tucker Carlson was saying how he's like gotten to a point where he has like no tolerance for atheism and all this stuff. And I know all these like right-leaning and center-right people who were just, you know, really upset on Twitter because they're like, you guys don't understand how you are shooting yourselves in the foot because our country is going to continue to be less religious. And
Yeah.
I mean, we're right leaning. We want to be succeeding, and you guys are screwing us by closing the door for all these people who feel politically homeless because of the nonsense on the left. Like,
Yeah.
why are you shutting them out? This is our opportunity to wheel them in. But that, you know, that's their prerogative.
Actually, that's a good point, because this could be, let's turn this into not a weakness of atheists, the political force of atheists in the U.S. Let's turn this into a weakness of Republicans. Like, you know what? I was gonna say like, oh, we need to change this, but screw you. Okay, let's not. I hope Republicans continue to hate on
Alienate the
atheists.
non-religious.
Yes, so that they become irrelevant, because atheism is growing in the US, right? So keep alienating us so that you become irrelevant. Okay, so screw the Republicans. I am more offended with the Democrats. Okay, I am more offended with the fact that Democrats are anti-atheists. Okay, by the way, I don't like the title of this news segment about Islamophobia. Okay, this is like, but it was supposed to be Muslimophobia, right? But
Okay,
I don't know.
but
Yeah.
Armin, for the sake of identification, it's easier to say Islamophobia in quotations, okay? Because then
Oh
it
yeah.
just more easily communicates. You know, language is about effective communication. So, anyways, one thing I wanted to get back to on the Islamophobia angle of this, so-called, aka what we call anti-Muslim bigotry. Hi, KCA Randy, good to see you. Is that we used to have a really like the acceptance of Muslims used to only be at 58% and even historically lower, much more before that. Now we're at 78%. So that's like a vast majority in the United States, which is fantastic. But what's really interesting, so they were looking at general acceptance, and then they were also looking at acceptance through the lens of what kind of political candidate would people be willing to vote for. And on both of those, they are trending in a really positive direction. But what's interesting is that we have seen a rise in anti-Muslim hate crimes, and also apparently the ADL said that they've been recording anti-Jewish hate crimes since like 1969 or something, maybe 1979. I can't quite remember. And last year was the highest number that they have recorded since they've started recording. So there's been a huge percentage increase in the number of anti-Semitic attacks that have been happening. But what's interesting, and I think this is really important to highlight, is that the report found that there's a vertical expansion, not a horizontal expansion of these views. What does that mean? So based on the polling data showing that my country is becoming less and less bigoted towards these groups on average, then why do we see these rise in hate crimes. And so they're saying horizontal expansion is the number of people that have these views, right? And we're not seeing horizontal expansion. We're actually seeing horizontal shrinkage. But what we're seeing is vertical expansion. So that means that of the people that hold those views, they are getting more intense. They are getting more outspoken. And so and they maybe feel emboldened or maybe forced into a position that they have to do these really, really extreme things, right?
Right.
So just because we're seeing this rise doesn't actually mean that the rhetoric that we're seeing popularized so much nowadays isn't actually being bought by the population. So in a way, I found this very encouraging because we are seeing a lot of things in the media nowadays that are like very scary, especially with like Kanye West, Nick Fuentes, like all that stuff. But the good news is that the general population it's not actually gaining traction there. So I would consider that a positive.
Yeah. Also, just to be clear, okay, the only issue I had with this whole thing was the fact that they were calling it Islamophobic views. Okay, the people, but this in general, this is a positive, right? Like I hope, like people, I hope I don't need to tell you guys here, because if I have to tell you guys, that means you guys don't know much. Well, for people who don't know, we love seeing tolerance of Muslims in increasing. Okay, we love seeing Muslims feeling more welcomed and more accepted in society. Okay, we just the anti-Muslim bigotry that exists. We just don't like calling that Islamophobia, because it's not about Islam. It's about tolerating Muslims. Okay, not tolerating people's views, right? Like we tolerate Christians, we don't tolerate Christianity, okay? And it's okay, for example, for religious people not to tolerate atheism as long as they tolerate atheists, okay? It's completely fine for you to have a problem with atheism, okay? As long as you are friendly and accepting of atheists in society, we have no problem with you being intolerant towards atheism. In fact, technically, you should be intolerant towards atheism if you believe in God. It doesn't make any sense for you not to. Okay, that's another problem. Okay, but yeah.
You're getting good at catching yourself mid tangent. Wow.
Yes.
You're like, I'm going to cut myself off.
Yes. So, and also, it's so good to see that the society in general responds in support. Like when you see increased attacks on a group of people, like when Trump goes after Muslims, it's so heartwarming to see that the reaction of society is, you know what, we're going to increase, like the hate is not going to increase, like it's not like a chain reaction, like people have like, okay, we need to protect these people, okay? So it's what, that should increase some of your hope for society, because usually these days we think like everything is crap. People, like the fact that that's the organic reaction of society should is increase your
because
optimism.
America, they're like, oh my god, you guys are so Islamic, but Islamophobic, anti-Muslim bigots, da da da. But in response to Trump, we actually rallied behind the community and became observably less bigoted.
Yeah.
There were a couple of comments I wanted to highlight. Mariam is saying, if Americans were faced with fascist Islam, they would be equally against it. Evangelical Christianity is leaning way too hard on the Christian theocracy and fascism here in the United States. So she's saying that's why there is this uptick. Out of all the groups, the uptick in opposition to a religious group is the evangelical Christians. And there's lots of polling to support what Mariam says.
But why is the reason why there's like intolerance towards atheists? Is there any reason for that? Like, do they provide an explanation?
Oh no, they barely touched on atheism. They barely touched on it.
Oh, look at how much anti-atheist discrimination exists, right? First of all, it seems to be one of the most hated group, okay? Because let's bring it back up here, okay? If you look at the total numbers,
they didn't show what the acceptance of atheism is in the general population, though. This is just specifically for electing a candidate.
I know. Let me make my point, though, okay? Look, among all the groups, okay, the gray one is the total, like both from Democrat and Republican. the atheists are when it comes to not voting for people because of their views, the atheists have the highest amount of opposition. Okay, it's worse than Muslims, Mormons, agnostic, evangelical, Christians, everybody. Okay, but even though they're the worst group, and you would think like a poll like this would want to explain, oh, let's look at the most discriminated group and explain what's happening here. But the atheists are so unimportant and so insignificant in caring that even the people who are conducting the study were like didn't think like they deserve any attention to explain why they're the most hated group here. Like the people who are being studied seem to be not caring about atheists, but even the people who are conducting the polls seem to be like well, they're atheists, of course. Like, who gives a crap? The atheists are one of the most discriminated groups in the world, and this needs to turn into a human rights movement. Like it's such a common and even the atheists will be like, well, yes, yeah. Like if you're like, oh, Muslims are being hated or discriminated, like, oh, even atheists like, oh, wow, that's a problem. We need to fix that. But like, oh, they're doing it to atheists. Like, yeah, sure, whatever. Even atheists don't feel like that's a bit important thing.
Well, because for most of them, it's a lack of identity instead of a positive identity. It's like, yeah, I'm non-religious. It's not something to rally behind. But there are some people like you who it very much is a positive identity for them.
Yeah, but making it a lack of identity instead of an identity is how you don't get political movements happening. Like that's how you get women losing their rights to abortion. That's how you get religion in school. That's how you get religion in politics.
No, okay? I mean, because you haven't. I'm just talking about how people experience it after they leave religion.
Okay, well, let me make my point, because I wasn't opposing to what you're saying. I accept what you're saying. I wasn't disagreeing with you. And I was saying that explains why we don't form communities and groups and mobilization and activism around this, because we're like, oh, this is like, it's just atheism. I stopped believing in religion, so now I don't need to like form bonds and communities and activism and all that stuff around it. Because the Christians and the Muslims and the Mormons and the Hindus and the Buddhists, well, not the Buddhists, maybe the Buddhists in Thailand, and the Catholics and the Jewish people, they are doing that. They are doing that. And that's how you keep losing your rights, even though you're the fastest growing demographic in the world, right? You're the fastest growing demographic in the world, but you keep getting dunked on like this. Look at this, right? That's how you lose your rights, people. That's how you lose secularism. That's how you lose. That's how religion continues to maintain dominance over your lives, right? So, fix this, atheists. Stop. Like maybe you should start getting fix this, and maybe you need to start getting butthurt. Okay, like maybe like you guys you should start getting offended. Like you have had such a bad experience with religious people getting offended over everything. You don't understand that being offended is not always bad. There's some utility in being offended. Okay, when atheists are being this is discrimination. Atheists are one of the most discriminated groups in the world, if not the most, and it's normalized. Like people don't even get angry over that. Like people don't even have a disgust reaction towards that. The same level of discrimination, if you get exposed to it, if it's towards the Jews, you feel like disgusted. You're like, ew, anti-Semitism, ew, gross, disgusting. But if you
hopefully you feel that way.
Hopefully you feel that way, yeah. But if the same type of phrases, like the way people describe Jews or Muslims or Hindus, the same disgusting gut reaction that you get, if the same phrases or the same actions were used against atheists, even atheists don't feel much. They don't feel attacked. They don't feel like discriminated. They don't feel offense. Maybe start exploring being butthurt. Okay. Get butthurt. Like we kept on telling religious people that stop getting butthurt all the time over everything. I think our community has decided that we should not get offended or butthurt over anything. Okay, but maybe you need a little bit of butthurt. Okay, try it.
The way you said explore butthurt. Explore it as an option.
Yeah. There's a comment by Shiny D. I don't know if it's real news or not, but she keeps on commenting and like you want. By the way, Shiny D, like I don't know if you understand. You keep asking us to read my comment, highlight my comment. Like we're in the middle of reading, and you know what? I'm not gonna highlight your comment.
No,
Okay?
it doesn't make any sense. It's nonsense.
Yeah, but even if if I was gonna highlight it after we finish the segment, but you seem to not understand that we're in the middle of explaining a news item, so we're not gonna stop and highlight something completely irrelevant to the news item that they were discussing. You know how many times you ask us to highlight this and stop everything to highlight your nonsense, and now because of your insistence, I'm not going to highlight it because I had it start to maybe discuss it after we finish the news item, but now we're not gonna. Okay, maybe this is a moment for you to learn a lesson. Okay, you don't interrupt people in the middle of it. You keep it on topic. Okay.
Wait, can we? I want to take a slight detour. Something I don't remember has commented on my pillow. Okay, I have the squishy, and it's I don't know what you call this kind of animal. A woxel. They're like the little amphibians, I think, that look very funny. Anyways, I need help naming him. Actually, no, this is a girl. So if you guys come up with good names, please put them in the live chat, and maybe you can name my stuffed animal that I have for emotional support because I'm in pain today. So if you're like, what does she have? This is my emotional support.
I'm glad that's
because of endometriosis.
Yeah, you were waiting for somebody to notice, weren't you? I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's adorable though. It's so cute. I don't know why something could be so unrealistic and still get our. You know what I don't understand. Like it's something about making things round and then making the faces very simple that makes us think that they're
babies.
Babies, you're right. Oh yes, you're right.
And babies are round and have big eyes because we're more likely to protect them.
So a couple of people came up with this name. Exotorte. I don't understand.
Oxylati.
Jesus name. It's a girl. It's a girl. Axolotl.
Axolotl coming.
Okay.
A cute name, not Cyrus. The Persians in the chat. You can so predictable. I love it.
All right. Can we clap for the next news?
Yes. I mean, sure. Yeah, we can.
All right. Next news.
Iran shuts down French Institute due to Charlie Hebdo's Khamenei cartoons. Iran's government has shut down the Tehran-based French Institute of Research in Tehran, I already said that, in response to cartoons from the latest edition of the French satirical magazine Charlie Hebdo. The cartoons are part of a contest where Charlie Hebdo asked participants to draw cartoons mocking Ayatollah Khamenei and the Islamic Republic regime of Iran. The magazine did cover the competition. The magazine did cover the competition to show their support for the ongoing anti-government protests in Iran. One cartoon featured on the magazine's front page depicted a line of Iranian clerics walking inside of a naked woman's vagina with the message saying, "Mullahs, go back to where you came from." The Iranian Foreign Ministry issued a statement saying that the closure of this French institute was the quote-unquote first step to its response against the cartoons and threatened further action if the French government fails to, quote, hold to account the perpetrators and sponsors of such instances of spreading hatred. The statement also said that Iran would consider reviewing cultural ties between Iran and France and French cultural activities in the country. Hezbollah, the Lebanese Islamist militant group backed by Iran, also condemned the cartoons, calling for the French government to take, quote, divisive measures to punish those behind the act for attacking dignitaries of a whole nation. Armin, what was your reaction to the Khamenei Charlie Hebdo cartoons?
First of all, we need to do our blasphemous art version of this. So, guys, make sure you subscribe to our newsletter if you
Oh,
want to
good
see
point.
them get us making those. Right. One, two. These people have now gotten to the point where they're treating this like blasphemy, right? And
Oh, you're right. That itself is a problem. We're getting shirky.
yes, because if the Charlie Hebdo cartoons are blasphemy, that means that Khamenei is a holy figure, which is like very a major claim. Like even some religious people in Iran would like, wait, this is blasphemy. What are you? What is that? What are you saying about yourself if this is like it's being treated like blasphemy, right?
I mean, but this is
Uh,
not new. Like Ruhollah Khomeini, Ruhollah means like spirit of Allah, right?
yeah, but we do have a lot of yeah, that is blasphemy. Yeah, that is by itself blasphemy. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I know, but it was more common to say that about Khomeini, but not like Khamenei. Khamenei recently compared himself to Hussein also, so
Shut the
that
front door. No, he
yeah,
did
yeah, yeah,
not.
yeah, he did. Okay,
What
but
did
we'll
he
get
say
to that.
about Hussein?
Wait, we'll talk about that later. Okay,
Okay.
okay.
The Shia and me got
Okay.
triggered. I'm
Wait, I'm
sorry.
gonna forget the points. I'm gonna forget the points. Okay. Wait, what was I gonna say? Oh, um, oh, another point is the fact that they're so desperate that like this is how is this gonna hurt France? Like you're closing things that are promoting Iran in France. Like this is gonna hurt you. Like how is France gonna suffer from
No, no,
you
no.
know?
It was a French institute based in Tehran.
Okay, no, but oh wait, they no 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 they also had like closed I think institutions in France, sharing cultural things about Iran. No,
If that's the
Iran
case,
closing French
that's
institutions.
not what I heard. I heard them closing a French institute that's based in Tehran.
According to Iran's foreign embassy, protesters gathered in front of the French embassy in Tehran. Okay, that's the French embassy. No, I heard the other way. It was the other way around.
I mean, they're threatening to, end their cultural ties on other things. They're reviewing their cultural relationships, so to speak.
Right.
But it
But
just
I
comes
thought
across as like very little kid, like childish. It comes across as very childish.
it does. It also shows a lack of understanding of how France laws work. Like the French government could not uh, ban these cartoons even if it wanted to. Like there's like for example, like oh Macron like punishes people. Even in an upside down world, okay, in an imaginary world that Macron genuinely wanted to, like, yes, this is horrible. Let's shut this down. He doesn't have the power. Like they are like how this is not Iran. Okay, there's a freedom of speech and they are incapable. There's a limitations of what the government can do. Right? So it seems like they don't understand. And actually that's what the French official responded. They said that this is not Iran. Like we have something here called freedom of speech. Like we can't like we're not going to be able to like we're not going to be able to do anything about it even if we wanted to. That's how they responded. It was such a burn, right? But it's
Yeah,
just
no,
so
that's what
pathetic.
Mariam is saying. Mariam is saying those fascist illiterate mullahs think other countries dictate cartoons.
Yeah, like yeah, you can't do like I mean it's just so stupid. Like they don't understand it. But let me see, like the French Institute, Iran announced Thursday the closure of Tehran. Oh, you're right. Tehran-based French Research Institute in protest against the cartoons. But okay, Republic Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei published French. The
Wait, I want to read some
ministry.
comments while you're reviewing that. Mariam is also saying "Je t'aime, Charlie," and D, who is our lovely editor. Everyone give their heartfelt thanks and appreciation to D for everything that she does for us and our community and you as a viewer. She is saying there are so many good cartoons that I couldn't include. I mean, Armin, did you? I'm assuming you saw the Charlie Hebdo cartoons because there's a lot that we can't really like include to show on YouTube. I don't know. I didn't want to risk it. Did you have a
Yeah.
favorite?
I can't even describe the one that was my favorite because even it was so explicit that even the description of it could like get us in trouble. But
guys, just go look them up. It was so good. I really liked the one where it was like kind of hyper realistic, but it looked like it was made with a ballpoint pen, and it was Khamenei, and he had like kind of a BDSM kind of face mask, but instead of like a ball gag, he had like a pistol coming out of his mouth. I thought that was very creative, or like the barrel of a gun like coming out of his mouth. And there was also one that was just, I don't know what it said in French, but it was like Khamenei's face, but on both sides it was just like pussy lips.
So yeah, exactly, Mariam. That's the one I was referring to. That one was. But the reason why that's my favorite is because that's what got them the most buttered.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so we need to make our version of arts like this. Okay, so we have three arts that we have covered, three blasphemy related news items that we have been covering in the past few weeks that we need to make sure that we make our own version of it. One was that Shah Rukh Khan with that lady. I don't know if you noticed. Do you remember which news I'm talking about? When he's wearing green and the lady he's dancing with is wearing saffron.
Oh, you talked
color.
about that on Secular Jihadists. You mean that Bollywood movie? Okay, let me write this down.
Yeah, the other one was the first news that we had today. Right. And the third one is this. So these are all, and we could all dedicate every single one of the arts to each one of these news items. Yeah.
Okay. Wait. Okay. So the Bollywood movie. I'm writing these down. I'm taking notes. Demi Lovato. Except we need to do it better, because like who really cares about Demi Lovato? To be honest. How the hell do you spell Lovato? Oh my god. And my phone corrected it to lavatory. And of course, Khamenei blasphemy. But now my question is, if we do Khamenei blasphemy, what should we be doing? Because we have done a series of, mullahs in submission, gleefully enjoying their submission to a dominant female, right? But I feel like we could take it in another direction. We also had one of Khamenei wearing a chador. So, we kind of already have done a Khamenei blasphemy one, but with the micro penis? So what should we do for our next Khamenei blasphemy art?
I think Iranian woman stepping on him.
Oh, and he's loving it. Okay. Yeah. Okay, being stepped on. Okay.
Yeah.
Juicy. Guys, if you want to know what the hell we're talking about and you want to see some of these arts that we're talking about, including Khamenei and a chador, that was some of my favorite.
Yeah.
That
most of them are actually
my brain, by the way. Yeah. I take full credit.
Yeah, you guys should see that.
Chador Khamenei, and he's like flashing. It's so funny. Yeah. Next to a picture of Khomeini. Anyways, if you want to see this, go check out our Patreon, link in the description below. And if you sign up for our Patreon for as little as $1 a month, you get access to all of our sexy blasphemous art that we release tons of throughout the month. And also you get the special privilege of asking questions during our Q&As every week. So yeah. But I think the chador Khamenei alone is worth it.
I love how much you love this. That's great.
It's so funny. You saw that one too, right?
Yeah.
The only one that made me happier was sexy female Dr. Zachariah as a stripper.
Okay, guys, if you're wondering what Susanna is laughing about, go check it out. Look at this. Mario's like, oh wow, I love this. All right, guys, we need to move on. Okay. Can we?
Oh no, this is no bueno.
No. Okay, sorry guys. Okay, next news.
Taliban banned women from using male doctors. The Taliban in the Balkh, I don't know. When the he is at the end, that really messes me up. Balkh province of Afghanistan has reportedly implemented a new measure banning women from seeing male doctors. In addition, it plans to create separate working spaces for male and female hospital workers and forbid male doctors from entering rooms with female patients. This move comes after a series of measures by the Taliban to suppress women's rights in Afghanistan since their takeover in 2021 after a U.S. military withdrawal. The ban has received criticism from journalists, activists, and experts. Sahar Fatrat of Human Rights Watch, an expert on women's rights issues and a native of Afghanistan, said that while her organization has not yet confirmed these reports, quote, it doesn't seem impossible given the Taliban's continuous infringement on women's rights and restriction of women's access to basic rights and facilities. Last November, the Taliban said that they seek to train more female doctors as part of a broader plan to increase gender segregation in the country. However, this reported effort of the regime contradicts its well-documented efforts to eliminate secondary education for Afghan women. So, just to be clear, this is news coming out of one specific province, not the entirety of Afghanistan, but it's still obviously extremely deeply concerning, given that, like I said, when they have these supposed plans to make sure that there are female doctors so that they can maintain gender segregation, essentially. But when they're banning women from attaining any form of education, then when there are programs to train women, because they've been missing several years of school, there is no cohort to train. So there are a severe lack of female doctors, if any. So it's just, I don't know. I mean, it's just horrific. It's just absolutely horrific. And it deeply confuses me. Like, I think it when I think about it in reality, which is so dark, it makes more sense. And the reality is, because I was thinking, like, well, these Talibs, like, they're gonna have women in their life that get sick. Like, they're gonna have their wives who start to miscarry and or need to, have healthy pregnancies if they, for the sake of, if the only thing they freaking care about is these children pumping out babies. Like, you have an interest in women having access to doctors for the sake of your own freaking, male heirs that you want, like that kind of thing. Even if it's completely selfish interest, right? You still have an interest in women's health for your own, agenda. But then I was thinking, like, well, the reality is that the Talibs that are high up, they're gonna the women that they care about that need this treatment, they're gonna get the treatment that they need regardless of the gender of the doctor, the sex of the doctor. That's the fact. The people who have access, the people who need it, this is not going to apply to them. It's just going to affect everyone else. And so it just boggles my mind. Like, what do they think is going to happen? I don't know. Armin, what is your reaction to this?
Okay, I want to be fair here, okay? As much as
tread lightly.
Okay. As much as I am anti-Islam, there is no reason for this in Islam. Like, Taliban is somehow managing to be worse than Islam for some reason. Okay, as bad as Islam is, Taliban is somehow capable of being worse because Islam specifically allows, if like, for women to see male doctors, especially if there are no female doctors available, right? So, I mean, Islam allows many things if it's about health-related stuff. Islam allows you to even, eat dead people or, eat pigs or drink alcohol, whatever you need to survive, right? So I don't understand where they're getting this from. Like, there's low. Like, can somebody educate us about where Taliban is getting this conclusion from, where that women cannot see male doctors, because I'm there's nothing in Islam that bans this. I don't understand
Do you
this.
think it comes from a perspective of like, I can think of it two ways. One of them would be to help prevent the temptation of men, and the other one would be to protect the chastity of women. We're kind of opposite sides of the same coin. And of course, these are the purported reasons, right? I don't think that they're these actual reasons. Like, the reason why they're closing down women's universities is because of lack of a hijab. Like, that's why, quote unquote. They have other motivations, much more pressing in the political realities that fuel those decisions, right?
I know, but this doesn't serve any of those purposes. Yeah.
Do you think that this is fueling some of the political necessities that they're facing? Like,
why?
Trying to, because, you know, they're having issues with ISIS-K, right? And losing.
I know, but like, why would you lose membership over this? Like, your members are like, Taliban members are like, oh, do something that even Islam is not asking us to do. You know, like, why would that be a demand? Maybe they just like their member, like, maybe just they don't know Islam and they just like, yeah, segregation all the way. Why not?
I mean,
like,
there's a lot of reasons to believe that, but like,
I mean, you could be like, yeah, that sounds Islamic enough to me. I don't know. Like, you just, yeah, I don't know.
Well, maybe it's from a sense of like, our members are freaking out because they no longer have a war to die for and become a freaking martyr. And ISIS-K is telling me that these Talibs are kafirs. So the Taliban is like, oh, okay, let's just show that we're actually super hardline. Like, we need to be even more hardline. We need, like, it's not even Islamic. We just need to go, like, somehow super hardcore to prove that we are hardcore enough to run this country.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
that's the only thing I can think of, besides just like abject cruelty. So many women are gonna die because of this. It's so messed up. I can't even imagine what the mortality rate after childbirth is already versus what it's going to be after this. Women are going to be dying of sepsis left, right, and center. Like, it makes me so upset. And you see these videos of girls in Afghanistan just sobbing, and they say, like, literally, this one girl is crying. She's like, what crime did I commit to be born a woman? It's just so tragic. I don't even.
All right, I need to highlight.
Yeah, go ahead.
Dr. Hypnos is saying, I think it's because of the hadith that says a man and a woman can't be in the same room. Well, okay, but we're saying that there are exceptions to this. Islam allows for exceptions, especially this, like, you know, when it comes to life and death and health related stuff, there's exceptions, okay? That is Islamic teaching. Also, this is amazing. Sorgo is saying, Armin sounds like an like Islamic apologist, okay?
Okay.
Yeah. You guys are so dogmatic when it comes to your anti-Islam views that when you're trying to be fair and in your criticism of Islam, you guys see that as Islamic apologism, right? I have dedicated so much content into fighting Islamic belief. So just because I'm not dogmatically just one directional when it comes to my criticism, and I don't criticize Islam based on what is real, you know, rather than just being anti everything, even being so divorced from reality that I cannot be fair to what I'm actually criticizing, what reality is, rather than the picture I have created in my mind. So if you see that as Islamic apologism, that shows that how simple-minded you are and how dogmatic you are in your fight against like these kind
it's
of
not apologism to be like, I'm actually very educated on this ideology, and this isn't actually part of this ideology.
All right, so Sergey is saying joking, Armin probably right. Okay. All right, guys, how can I, like, look at the comment, okay? Like, how could you tell that this is a joke? Okay, maybe put like emoticon with a tongue out, or a slash s, or a JK at the end of it. Like, do you guys understand that a comment like this, there's no way for us when we're reading like a comment to know if this is serious or not? So I'm going to treat them as serious unless you guys need to clarify that this is not serious. Like, what am I supposed to do with it, right? Okay. But that was good
What can you
anyways,
do?
because yeah. No, but it's good anyways, because we responded to that kind of yeah, exactly. Thank you so much. So good saying
I just mimicked the trolls who accuse Armin of being an apologist. Well, you do an effective job.
yes. Okay, this is not relevant, but you highlighted this. You want to
Oh yeah, I forgot to highlight this last segment. Shreyash is saying, I literally subscribed for Blasphemous Art. Well, thank you for supporting us on Patreon, Shreyash. We appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
And we hope you enjoy the Blasphemous Art. Like, tell us in the comments what you like the most.
Okay, this is also might come off as so bad. Okay, as much as I don't want to hate on them. Okay, I support their work. I very much support their work, and I think their efforts are good. Okay, but as much as I support Charlie Hebdo and love everything they do, they have nothing over us. Okay, like they have nothing. Like, just go and compare our blasphemous art to Charlie Hebdo. Like, it's ours is 1,000 times better. Okay, make us as famous as Charlie Hebdo, guys, because we produce better art than Charlie Hebdo. Come on, guys. Like, and it's so tell people that and also all the people in the atheist community that hate us for our blasphemous art, they don't say the same things about Charlie Hebdo, which
A
is
lot of
shows
them do.
a
A
lot of
lot
them
of them
do.
do.
Okay, yeah. Okay, all right. So then screw them then. I don't know what else to say. All right, can we clap for the next news?
Nah, let's not. The rest of them we can.
All right, next news.
Next news. Caste abuse. Human feces found in water tank used by quote unquote untouchables. Okay, quick educational moment. For those who do not know, untouchables refers to the community that are now known as Dalits. I only use the word untouchables because a lot of people outside of India do not know the term Dalit. And so if you say untouchable, it communicates the community that you're talking about. But henceforth, I will only be saying Dalit. Okay, because I know it's a kind of pejorative term. Anyways, in a village in the Indian state of Tamil Nadu, a large amount of human excretion was found in a water tank meant for the scheduled caste or Dalit community. An investigation by district authorities found that untouchability was still practiced and deeply rooted in the village. When the children suddenly began to fall ill, the villagers noticed something was wrong. After the doctor suspected the reason behind the issue might be the drinking water source, some men climbed the tank and peeked inside. The fence covering the tank had been opened in the past few days, but the culprit behind this incident was still at large. A villager said that the smell of water was different, and large portions of human excretion were found inside the tank, turning the water yellow. Locals of I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce it, village, claimed that untouchability is still practiced in the area. The Dalit community is prohibited from entering the temple, and tea stalls have different sets of glasses for the Dalits. While the investigation is ongoing, authorities have set up an alternative water source for the local Dalit community to use. So, yeah, Dia saying, yes, this was really bad. Children were hospitalized. And I covered this story because some of our Atheist Republic community in India sent this to me and they said, hey, can you please talk about this? Because this isn't getting the coverage it deserves in India. And we can't really talk about it because of a lot of safety issues. So can you talk about it? So that's what I love about the Atheist Republic community is like, I can kind of, our team, us in general, we can, be the voice for the people who are like, I can't really talk about this safely. So yeah, Shreyash is bringing up something important, saying bioterrorism. Honestly, this is biological terrorism. So this water tank was set up at some portion of the village, and it was a water tank used that serviced like about 100 members of the local Dalit community. And apparently this water tank was specifically set up because the rest of the village was giving the Dalit community a hard time for the water sources that were already available. Which is like, I was thinking about this earlier today. Like, casteism and caste abuse is one of the most dehumanizing extremes that I have ever encountered. Like, dehumanizing someone to the degree that you do not find them worthy of water is like, I do not have words for that. It's crazy. Even Hindutva Susanna is saying feces jihad.
I never thought I would ever hear that phrase. Even Hindutva Susanna is saying feces jihad. We need to cut that out. When you shouted, yeah, we need to cut that part out. We need to just like have that we could play that every time.
Yeah, exactly. Cut that, clip that. For those who do not know, Hindutva Susanna is a Hindutva troll. And so I guess the only good quote unquote I'm trying to get a silver lining, okay? The silver lining is that this incident exposed to the district authorities about how bad casteism and untouchability was in this village. Like the using different cups for the Dalits at the Chaiwala, like banning them from entering the temple, all this stuff. This is all illegal. And so apparently on the reports that I read, the district authorities actually went and reported the tea sellers and made a complaint against them, went to the temple. They went to the temple with the Dalit community to confront the person that wasn't letting them enter the temple. Again, illegal. And the woman appeared, this is how it was written in the article, appeared in a trance to the authorities, saying that she was possessed by the goddess, and as the goddess, she wasn't letting the Dalit community in.
What the hell?
Yeah. So they made a complaint against her. They made a complaint against the temple, blah, blah, blah. In the meantime, they've set up an alternative water source for these people. So it seems like there's action being taken behind this, which is a positive.
Thank you.
But it just goes to show the vitriol, I don't this is a level of bigotry that is so beyond me. One-eyed heathen is saying it's like Jim Crow, but in India, and classism instead of racism. It's trash and needs to stop. It's worse than that. In Jim Crow, you had segregated water fountains, and one was worse than the other, but it was still potable water. They were still allowed to have water.
I think to get something,
this community was fighting to even be allowed to get water.
Yeah, I think you need to go a little, if you want to get a comparable version of this in the US, you have to go a little bit more back in time than Jim Crow.
Yeah, I mean, maybe antebellum South, just racial terrorism, essentially. But I mean, even then, there's so much about it that's so different, and it's not just classism. I mean, it is hereditary. It is 100% hereditary, but there is the Varna and Jati aspect of it. So part of it has to do with occupation. But yeah, I really don't even have words. Just the abject cruelty. It's really continues to shock me. It really continues to shock me. Oh, and there was another person, Prometheus is saying, I could not even climb that water tank in my village. It was so high and unsafe. They did that all and risked their lives to do it. Oh my God, that's a good point. I didn't even consider that. Yeah.
Children are the guy who's doing that. He knows that children are going to be drinking this. How evil do you have to be? And for what reason? I don't understand The guy who did this, I don't know, like, are they gonna get caught or anything?
I don't know.
Can
There's
they?
no one that's been arrested so far.
Can they
This
not do
seems to
it?
be in this area. They seem to have a problem with it because a few years ago, a guy got the crap beaten out of him and nearly died because he was a Dalit man wearing sandals.
Wait, what's wrong with wearing sandals?
It's a casteist thing.
Wait, you can't even wear sandals as a Dalit?
There's certain roads you can't walk down. There are Dalit men who have gotten lynched because they rode horses in their wedding. That's a casteist thing. There's been Dalit men that got murdered because they have a mustache. That's an quote unquote upper caste thing.
Okay, let me correct something. Mariam is saying with the rise of Hindutva, I don't see the caste system leaving anytime soon. Actually, Mariam, this is more of a Hinduism thing than a Hindutva thing. Right? Hindutva is anti-caste. This is more just
they're theoretically anti-caste. In reality, they are not at all. Let's be clear.
I know, but this is more in line with just core Hinduism rather than this whole Hindutva thing. Right?
Yeah.
This is just kind of, yeah.
Especially in South India. I mean, like, you know, the BJP, they got a lot of press because they elected the first tribal woman to the role of president, I believe. So that is very historic. Like, that is an achievement in Indian society, and it was the BJP that pushed that through. So they are anti-caste to the extent that it is politically lucrative for them. But there's been a lot of good writing about people who used to be deeply embedded in the RSS and then left because of how much caste discrimination they were facing, and how it was explicit, and it took them a long time to realize that this, you know, what they were preaching is not what they practice, and that to feel like their community was actually going to be more liberated, they had to oppose the RSS and the Hindutva project. Yeah.
Okay. Some people are disagreeing with my description of Hindutva being anti-caste. Some people are saying Hindutva is casteism. Suresh is saying to do everything to keep the lower caste communities down. Okay, but I've heard so many different descriptions of this. Okay, I've talked to so many Hindutva, and I've seen descriptions of them being very, very anti-caste. I think a lot of people also explained to me, and I don't know if this is accurate, okay, is that Hindutva is so focused on Muslims as the enemy that they cannot afford having any other divisions within the Hindu community. So that's why they do not focus that much on casteism, or some of them are, and I think you get different experiences based on the Hindutva that you're encountering. A lot of them are very significantly anti-caste, but some people just say that's the reason is because they have a message of unity of Hindus versus Muslims, and that's why they're so anti.
It's so-called unity, right? But what's actually happening is a homogenization. It's actually supposed to be homogenization in practice. They preach anti-casteism. In practice, it's not the case, except when it's politically convenient for them. And what they are working towards is a homogenization of Hindu society, because if they have an homogenization, they can purport to be the representative of that monolith. And also, it's trying to homogenize quote unquote Hindu society into basically a more northern Indian identity and practice of Hinduism. Because when they talk to people, you know, from Bengal or South India and see the way that they practice their Hinduism, it's very different and actually objectionable to a lot of people that are North Indian. There's been huge political rows about this, especially when it came to the whole smoking Kali thing. Because they're like, yeah, in my culture, like, we feed Kali meat. What are you guys freaking out about? You know, so it's actually very antithetical to the entire history of Hinduism, which has been characterized by nothing except the fact that it is so varied. There's like nothing consistent you can say about Hinduism except that it is completely varied. So trying to homogenize it into this like category that they can just claim that they represent the best interests of is antithetical to the entire history of like the world's oldest spiritual practice.
Right. By the way, great book recommendation by Hindustani. How do you I don't know how to pronounce their
Wow,
last
I
name.
don't know.
Bao. When I read The Annihilation of Caste by Dr. Ambedkar. Yes, that's
Baba
good.
Saheb. Wait, Hindustani Bao, you should join our Discord because I bet you would suggest a lot of very good caste related news stories to us. And I really like to cover those stories. And we have an entire channel in our Discord recommended to telling us what news to cover on the show. So if you have suggestions, please join our Discord and tell us because I'd be very interested in talking about more about this.
Shreyash was mentioned that he cannot be on our Patreon. He was just doing our newsletter to get our blasphemous art because saying I'm literally a student in my gap year living with my parents. Yes, okay, guys, do not support us on Patreon. If you are not, if you can't afford it, please do not support us. Just support us by liking the video and leaving comments and stuff. But this is great, Shreyash, because now you gave us an excuse to tell everybody that there's a free version of our art as well if you just subscribe to our newsletter, right? So we have an explicit version of our blasphemous art that is available to our patrons only, okay? For you have to support us on Patreon, link in the description to get that, but with just $1 a month, right? But there's also a free version. Okay, the free version is also very sexy. There's no nudity in it. It's not 18 plus. It's safe for work, but it's still very sexy. And you could get that. We make blasphemous art every week, and send it to our newsletter subscribers. And if you want the free version, you could be subscribed to our newsletter. Link to that is also in the description, right? The one that says get our blasphemous art book for free. You get the book that has a lot of beautiful art in it, but you also then continue to getting a weekly version of that. Do you have another comment highlighted?
Oh yeah, this is just a very sweet comment. One-Eyed Heathen is saying, just want to thank the host of the show for revealing where I'm ignorant, so I have more to learn about the situation in India and the caste system. Well, that's so nice for you saying so, One-Eyed Heathen. Thank you for being here. That's why we have this show. That's why Atheist Republic is a nonprofit organization, because we do things like for the purpose of education, like supporting atheists, building community, all sorts of stuff. So I'm glad that you got some value out of it. And come back again. I mean, we're not done with this show, but next week. We're still not done here though.
Yeah. All right. Can we clap for the next news?
Yes, sure. Yeah.
Next news.
Jewish extremists vandalize Christian graves in Jerusalem. Dozens of graves were vandalized in Jerusalem's cemetery on Mount Zion on January 1st. The perpetrators were shown wearing traditional Jewish attire in a video that emerged a few days later. The cemetery was established in 1848 and has been used to bury British soldiers and Palestinian police officers, some of whose graves were also vandalized. The Protestant Anglican Church manages the cemetery through an affiliated organization. The church and the United Kingdom condemned the attack. Church leaders in Jerusalem maintain that far-right extremists have been trying to push them out of the area for decades, and that extremist Jews have been known to spit on Christians. The authorities say that they will investigate the incident, although no arrests have been confirmed.
I think this is the first time I'm seeing Jewish and Christian hate crime. Have you ever seen this before?
Honestly, now that you mention it, no.
I mean, I've seen Jewish on Muslim, Muslim on Jewish, Christian on Jewish, right?
Pretty much anyone on Jewish, if we're being honest.
Yeah, any group. Yeah, many different groups hate crimes on Jewish people. I've never ever seen until now hate crimes on Christians by Jews. Yeah, this is now we've seen everything.
It's the end times. Now we know it's the end times.
Yeah. By the way, it also shows how things are getting worse in Israel. Like how much the radical Judaism and far right extremism and all that crap. All that. This is not good. This is not
No,
good.
it's not good.
I'm
It's not good.
no.
It's
I
constantly,
I
yeah, it's really bad.
I'm predicting a lot of more news like this to come in the future. Like we're gonna. I am Susanna. I am predicting right now. Okay, that given what's happening in Israel, a higher percentage of our news is going to start becoming about Israel, right?
I agree. I
So,
agree.
yeah, yeah, we're going to have more reasons to cover religious nonsense coming out of Israel, given the way things are heading, unfortunately.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, it is. This is, I mean, these are obviously incidents where you're like, oh, this is just the symptom of the greater disease. Yeah, D is agreeing with your surprise over this particular combination.
Yeah.
Um, I think. Well, did you see? And you've been following Israel a lot more closely than I have lately. What news sources do you follow to keep in touch with what's happening in Israel?
Um, people are not going to like what I say. People are not going to. Al Jazeera. Al Jazeera is like, yeah.
But they're so
But
biased.
yeah, but that's what I mean. But you're aware of the bias, so that's a good
Uh
thing,
huh.
right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, Also, right now, I need their bias. Like this is the time that their bias in the right direction. But I guess like a better news for people who want something more objective. I think you could use France 24 is always great.
Oh, I do love France 24. Yeah, they're usually
Yeah.
really good.
Also,
They do have a
DW,
lot of NIMAC
DW,
people on.
DW is really good too.
I do love DW. Oh, D is
Yes.
recommending the Jewish Telegraph Agency. Okay, thank you, D. Um,
And
yeah, I was curious, and I was also thinking about what's the name of the guy that they um
somebody
put
said,
as the
okay,
new
in there. Oh.
national security minister? It's like Ben
Huh?
Giraviv or something.
Yeah, yeah, the guy,
That,
the radical guy that the
yeah,
guy
that psycho.
yeah, that's psycho.
Uh,
Yeah.
I have read somewhere, I have no idea how credible it is, but we had that news a few weeks ago about how Saudi has like basically acknowledged that they're going to normalize, I mean, like unnamed officials have acknowledged that they're going to normalize ties with Israel, like it's only a matter of time. I've heard
Yeah, that's
tell
good.
that because of this guy, like single-handedly, like this is not like there is going to be no normalization as long as that
It's gonna make it
psycho
very
is around.
difficult.
As long as
Yeah,
he's around, like you can just like kiss that dream goodbye.
yeah, because the guy is not just anti-Palestinian. The guy is anti-Arab, right? So
Yeah.
this whole unity of like Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and all these Gulf Arab countries coming together with Israel. Now that this is Israel's politics, you have literally anti-Arab racists at the head of the government. Is going to make it very difficult to create that Abrahamic accord that is supposed to unite everybody against Iran. So
It's basically
it,
completely antithetical to him.
yeah, I don't
Damn.
know what's going to happen, but it's just like something, either something has to, yeah, it's going to be bad. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Right now, there's currently a lot of protests in Israel. I don't know if you guys have seen that. By the leftists have finally realized that they need to become more active in Israel because they have been sleeping for the past couple of years. And now that their country has been taken over, now they finally realize that, oh crap,
It's like when you're
we
in a coma in the hospital and it's only when the fire is scorching your skin that you stand up and go, I need to put out the fire.
yeah. Like you
The
guys
whole
have been
hospital's already torched.
you yeah, it's a little bit too late. It's a little bit late, guys, but I'm glad you guys have
Better late
figured
than
out.
never. Yeah, there was
Yeah,
a
better late
protest with
than
like 80,000 people recently.
yeah, it's huge. It's huge because
That
the
was
laws are
encouraging.
insane. The laws are insane. Like they are literally going back to the dark ages. Israel is like they're going anti-LGBT, anti-woman, anti-secularism, anti-democracy. Pro blasphemy laws. It's like it's going into they're like speed running in the opposite direction of progress. So we'll see. This is what this is. Remember when I said that Islam is not the greatest threat to Israel?
You did say this.
I said that. Did I say? I said like as the greatest threat to Israel is Orthodox Judaism. Remember I said
fundamental
that?
Judaism.
Yeah. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. So Israel is, if Israel is going to hurt, and Israel is going to suffer, not because of Islamic terrorist attacks, but because of Judaism. Yeah. And I said in the same tweet that the greatest threat to India is not Islam. The greatest threat to India is Hinduism. The greatest threat to Israel is not Islam. The greatest threat to Israel is Judaism, right? And the greatest threat to United States is not Islam. The greatest threat to United States is Christianity.
You've been saying this for years.
Yeah.
I'm very consistent. And thank you, D. D is essentially acting as the other part of my brain. Giving me the name of the person I was thinking of. Itamar Ben Gvir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Me and
by the way, I'm not
brain cells.
For before Sergu starts pretending to be one of the trolls that makes says I'm an Islam apologist. Okay, Islam is the greatest threat in many countries. Okay, like for example in Iran, right? Islam, or Pakistan, right? Or or Bangladesh. So I'm not excusing Islam. I'm just saying in these specific countries, there's a bigger threat. Anyways, let's move on.
Haley Hustipi, Armin.
Aw, thank you.
I was just thinking it.
Aw, that's so sweet, guys. Aw. Tamam tour, Azizam. Okay. No, sweet. Can we no. I like that. Okay, Mariam knows what you just said, right? Mariam, did you understand?
Yeah.
All right. Can we clap for the next news?
Yeah.
Okay. Next news. Oh, look at this. Wait. No, wait. Let the comment come. Let the comment come up on streamer so I can highlight it. Mariam is saying, John. Oh, wait. This is another nice comment. I'm so glad this show isn't America or Eurocentric. Means I learn a ton. Yes, we're very international here. Yeah.
That's the whole point, because I feel like in the rest of like a lot of the atheist community, that's the only thing people talk about. But our community is literally global. We're the largest in the world.
Yes. Prometheus is saying Armin will never say that atheism is a threat to China. Okay. Well, I mean, if you could show me that it is, I will gladly say that. But it's really difficult for atheism to be a threat to anything, given that it doesn't have any teachings. Like for you to be a threat, you have to actually advocate for something, right? Atheism is literally just a lack of belief in God. So, I mean, atheism has to really try hard to be a threat to anything. Like I'm trying to be objective. I'm not trying to be biased because I'm an atheist, but I'm like really thinking this through. How can atheism be an active threat to anything when it's not telling you to do anything? It has no teachings. Okay, so yeah. All right. You said it's clappable. Next news.
Muslim group challenges religious conversion laws in Indian Supreme Court. On January 5th, the Muslim organization Jamiat Ulama Hind moved the Supreme Court of India to challenge the constitutional validity of the anti-conversion laws of 5 states, claiming that it invades the privacy of an individual's personal decision to adopt another faith. The legality of the anti-conversion laws of the state of Uttarakhand, Himachal Province, Madhya Province, Gujarat, I know I never say that right, and Uttar Pradesh, was challenged in a public interest litigation, or PIL, filed by the organization. The laws require individuals to disclose their conversion involuntarily, and the religious leader who conducts the ceremony has to contact the local district magistrate for prior permission. The converts are the ones who have to present the burden of proof to prove that their conversion to another faith wasn't fueled by some coercion or allurement, quote unquote. The petition said that, quote, these provisions force a person to disclose his faith and thereby invade into the privacy of a person. The compulsory disclosure of one's religion in any form amounts to a violation of their right to manifest his or her beliefs. Therefore, such disclosure is unconstitutional. So let me give a little background for people who maybe don't know what this is about and why this is a big deal. In India, there are several states, I think possibly as many as 1/3 of all of the states in the country, that have some form of anti-conversion law on the books. And sometimes they're called anti-conversion laws, anti-forced conversion, anti-love jihad, or religious freedom bills. But they're not religious freedom. And this has to do with right-wing hysteria regarding mass conversions or a general demographic shift away from Hinduism. And this can happen in the form of quote unquote love jihad, which is a conspiracy theory that Muslim men are pretending to be Hindu men and then making Hindu women fall in love with them. And then after they get married, revealing that they are actually Muslims and then forcing that woman to convert to Islam. And then all their children are going to be Muslims. And then this is going to change the demographics of India into an Islamic state. So that's the love jihad portion of it. Or it's just general fears around people leaving Hinduism. Some of these laws in different states are so explicit that basically in the law, it says, it doesn't say it literally, but if you read and understand it, it's basically saying that, oh, okay, but if someone from Christianity or Islam or a different religion converts to Hinduism, then that's not going to be, subject to the same scrutiny. But if you're leaving Hinduism, you have to give a district magistrate 30 days notice, and you have the burden of proof, which means that instead of the state saying, oh, okay, we think that you're forced to convert for whatever reason, and we have to prove it because we're the prosecutors, so to speak, the burden of proof is on the person converting to say, I was not forced to do this. But how do you prove something that never happened? It's ridiculous. So, it's like kind of the opposite of innocent until proven guilty, so to speak. And so this is really, obviously, in my opinion, a huge overstep of the state. It's weird as hell to me that the state would be involved with this to any degree. But then also, there are so many religious freedom issues surrounding this, like dozens that I can think of off the top of my head. And this is supposedly in the name of religious freedom, right? So anyways, all of this is basically, this Muslim organization is challenging these statutes in 5 different states. Now, I don't know the history of this particular Muslim organization. There's a lot of Muslim organizations in India that do a lot of sketchy shit, okay? So I'm not endorsing necessarily this organization, but I am in favor of what this PLI is advocating for, what it hopes to achieve. And they took an interesting approach to their argumentation in terms of arguing off of the basis of the right to privacy instead of arguing off of the basis of violations of the portions of the Constitution related to religious freedom. So yeah, I thought this was very, very interesting and very relevant to what we talk about. Armin, what is your reaction?
Just a quick reaction. This is I'm happy and also kind of upset about this. Okay, I mean, I support this group doing this. Okay, and I think they're doing a good thing. I just wish there was a secular group. I mean, India has a whole bunch of secular and atheist groups. Where have they been? Like, why have they not? Why did you guys wait enough for a Muslim group to pick this up? This is literally secularism.
So let's be a little bit fair.
Okay.
I think it was last week we covered a case regarding the quote unquote forced conversion law in Madhya Pradesh, and in that case, there was actually a rationalist society that spoke in the court against the narrative that they were pushing. So it seems that there are rationalist societies involved in aspects of fighting this, maybe wherever they can in their state. It was just this particular organization filed this before the Supreme Court.
Okay, again, I'm not saying this Muslim group shouldn't be doing this. Okay, I'm not saying like, hey, stop. They should stop. Like, let the rationalists or the secularists or the atheists do it. I'm just saying. I'm just hoping that the atheist groups or secular groups or rational groups in India are also picking up a lot of this, work. Because we need the positive press for atheists and secularists in India, right? So don't could be a friendly competition. Don't let the Muslims be the ones who are at the front of fighting for secularism. Again, I'm not saying like stop them. I'm just saying like outdo them, okay? Because this is a good thing that they're doing.
I mean, but like we don't have nearly the same population and therefore funding to do this in the same capacity. Like, let's also be fair. Right. This is a global problem that our community faces.
Yeah, and we can use whatever help we can get. So whatever.
So, and this is additional context. My understanding from what our Indian lawyers have told me in the past is that when a public interest litigation is filed, it's going to be years until this is heard before the court. Because we had a public interest litigation filed against us. And that still hasn't come to fruition like 2 years later. So, and if it does get further in the court system, then it will probably be bundled into other cases that are dealing with the same issue. But the Indian court system is so notoriously overburdened that it could be years before this matter is dealt with, which is really unfortunate because people are being actively abused under these laws. Like right now, I remember we covered when the Uttar Pradesh law came into effect. Like there were people being persecuted, just like normal ass Muslim dudes being persecuted because of that law, literally within the same week. Like being falsely accused of notorious crap immediately afterwards. And so people are going to be getting their lives destroyed for like more and more years until this can finally be dealt with by the Supreme Court, which is just so infuriating.
All right, we need to highlight. We got a super chat and we got some comments. So, but before we get to the super chat, read this one. Sorgu is
saying, "Do we know what the intentions of this Muslim group is?" Not specifically. I feel like I remember the name of this Muslim group, but I tend to get them confused. So I'm not going to make claims. I do not necessarily endorse anything this organization does. I don't know what their agenda is.
Okay, so we got a super chat.
Secular Sakai gave us a $10 super chat. Thank you so much, Secular Sakai. And also, I missed you. It's good to see you again. Yeah. He's saying it's been a super busy week and a half for me. Traveling now, but we'll be donating $100 to Operation Iranian Renaissance when I get back to my computer today. Keep on updating us with the news, Atheist Republic. Oh my God! Thank you so much, Sakai. This is so generous of you.
We should include a link. Start including a link to that in all our videos to Opera. We haven't.
Yeah, we should. I'm going to add that to my to-do list to make sure that we add that.
Send that to me. Okay. Also,
for those of you who do not know what Operation Iranian Renaissance is, Operation Iranian Renaissance is Atheist Republic's emergency translation project to provide life-saving manuals for Iranian protesters translated into Persian. Because in English, it's super easy to find, information on how to protest safely, how to make a gas mask, how to fight tear gas, all this stuff. But this isn't easily found in Persian. So what we're doing is we have a whole project dedicated towards doing the translations and making materials that are easy to read with visuals and all this stuff to get this information to people inside of Iran, because obviously there isn't much else we can do to support them. But we have a huge community in Iran and it's very important to us and our heart. So this is what we're doing. So thank you, Sakai, for being such a big supporter of what we do. Okay, let me add this to my to-do list.
Also talking about funding, we have another comment by One-Eyed Heathen saying, you want to respond to this, Susie? Look at this.
One-Eyed Heathen is saying, wait, people are suing you? Why? Well, good. Glad you asked. In 2020, Armin made a tweet that blasphemed a Hindu goddess known as Kalima. And that set off 2 years of bullshit that we had to deal with. The Indian government banned our websites, banned us from Facebook. People were taking us to court in the Delhi High Court because of our tweets. We're technically taking Twitter, and then we became a party to the case. Like lots of legal details.
We were mentioning the Supreme Court of India, like the Supreme Court of India. Our Twitter account and everything was brought up, so there's that.
So why are people suing? Oh, we've had police reports filed against us, Armin.
Yes.
Yeah. We've had for blasphemy. Our lawyers have officially told us that we should not go to India.
Yes.
So why are people suing you?
We have had to hire
blasphemy.
Yeah, we have had to hire lawyers, and we had a whole legal fund and everything, which is still ongoing, by the way. So, yeah, if you could support us, that would be great. However, do not support us again. When I hear them saying, "Oh wow, would love to donate to you guys. I'm currently broke. I totally support getting info about safe protesting in Persia." Yeah, guys, if you are struggling financially, please donate. Don't donate to us. Just like the video. Liking the video helps our channel grow. So just do that, okay? So,
these comments are hilarious. Wait, yeah. Bread of life, Rebecca, I love you.
Oh, hi.
You again. She's saying, who would have known that it would be more controversial to blaspheme a Hindu god than Islam?
Exactly.
That's so true. And the activists that Armin has known for 15, 20 years of doing this activism, they're like, we have never seen this, and we've been going after Islam for over 20 years. Like, and Shriyash's comment sends me saying, most expensive horny moment. This did turn it. Armin, your face. You're like, yeah. Wait, we've had quite a journey over the past 2 years, and keep in mind that this happened all during my first year of as being a CEO of Atheist Republic, let alone an activist in general. I was like, what is happening?
Hindustani Bao is saying Indian courts are full of Brahmin population as judges, almost 80% Brahmins as a result of what?
Collegium system. As in like college, I think.
This decreased the justice rate. Okay. Also, it seemed like you didn't pronounce something correctly. Did you say Gujarat wrong again? Gujarat?
I don't know how to say it right.
Gujarat. Gujarat. Repeat after me. What did you say though? Did you say
every time else? I say it, people? I think I said Gujarat. Gujarat.
No, not Jew. Not Jew. It's not Jew. It's Gu.
Okay, but Jew, every time someone tells me how to say it, they tell me how to say it differently than the last time. So I've just embraced always saying it wrong, and it's just a part of who I am at this point. It's a character, it's a feature. It's not a bug.
What? Secular Sakai just celebrated his 9-month membership by saying, also going to donate $50 to the legal GoFundMe.
Oh, wow. Oh, my God. Thank you.
Thank you.
Guy is so generous with us. I can't even believe it. See, look at now. Shriyash is telling me how to say it differently.
Okay. No. The main part is don't say no. Okay. The rest, if you get wrong, is fine. Okay. Just don't say Jew. Just say Gu. The first part is the part people don't ever say Jew. Just say Gu. Gujarat. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Good. Being dyslexic does not help the situation at all.
Okay. All right. Can we? Oh wait. I haven't even have the next news up. We're having too much fun. All right. Can we clap for the next news?
Yes.
All right. Next news.
Next news. NGOs accuse Saudi government of infiltrating Wikipedia to control content. Two NGOs, that means non-governmental organizations, like nonprofits, Democracy for the Arab World, known as DAWN, and CEMEX, have issued a joint statement accusing the Saudi government of infiltrating Wikipedia to control content about the country and apprehend those who contribute critical information about political prisoners. The statement says that the Saudi government infiltrated Wikipedia by recruiting the organization's highest-ranking administrators in the country, Osama Khalid and Ziad al-Sufyani, and that the two were arrested by Saudi authorities in September 2020 and sentenced to 32 and 8 years in prison, respectively. The NGOs claim that they have evidence of the Saudi government's infiltration from anonymous sources and the imprisoned administrators. Wikipedia parent company, Wikimedia, denied the allegations, claiming that infiltration by the Saudi government is, quote, unlikely to be the case. However, acknowledged that some users who, quote, may have been Saudi were among those who were banned from the website.
Wait, I don't understand. So they jailed two administrators? Like, how can you walk us through like exactly what happened?
Yeah. So I would like to preface this with saying that I personally do not know how I feel about the veracity of these claims. Because it can be tempting to be like, oh my God, the Saudis control everything. Especially because of what happened at Twitter. But personally...
Oh my God. Okay, that was good.
Sorry. But personally, I am not entirely convinced. I don't know. I don't know. So, but let's give a little bit more context. So one of these organizations that is making these allegations is CEMEX. It's a Lebanese-based organization based on working on human rights in like West Africa and the Levant. And then DAWN, the acronym, is actually the organization that was founded by Jamal Khashoggi. And so, that lends it a bit more credibility. But I still have questions. So I will read you more information, and this is from DAWN itself. So let's see what they say. What are the claims that they're making? According to the sources with knowledge of the matter who spoke to DAWN and CEMEX, in September 2020, the Saudi government arrested two high-ranking Wikipedia administrators in Saudi Arabia, and on the same day charged them with swaying public opinion and violating public morals. The Specialized Criminal Court, the country's counterterrorism court, used to prosecute political detainees, sentenced them in the summer of 2020 to 5 and 8 years in the prison in Riyadh, respectively. Sources close to the case told DAWN that the government prosecuted them because they had contributed information deemed critical about the persecution of political activists in the country. The Specialized Criminal Court later increased their charges or their imprisonment sentence. Okay, let's go a little bit farther. Wikimedia appears to have acknowledged the infiltration and banned many of its editors in the country without providing any details. On December 6th, 2022, Wikimedia announced it had banned 16 users for quote-unquote conflict of interest editing following an internal investigation that had commenced in January 2022. Sources with knowledge of Wikimedia's operations revealed to DAWN and CEMEX that the ban was against 16 Saudi users, Wikimedia's highest-ranking editorial team in the region, following its discovery that they were serving as agents for the Saudi government to promote positive content about the government and delete content critical of the government, including information about political prisoners.
Okay, this is going to backfire because now a lot of people are going to go and check everything about Saudi Arabia to make sure that everything human rights related or is there. Or whatever they're thinking, like this obviously some people will eventually figure this out, and there will be now people that will now scrutinize every single page about Saudi Arabia. So this is gonna again like what everything they do keeps backfiring, right? Backfiring on them. Like I don't know if they're not very smart, huh? I'm talking about I'm talking about House of Saud, by the way. I'm not talking
Yeah,
about
yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah.
It depends. It depends. It depends.
Mm.
Not always, you know. So let's give a timeline here. So in 2020, there were 2 Wikipedia administrators who were arrested and sentenced to decades in prison by the Saudis because they were, spreading information that was inconvenient for the government, according to them. Now, in 2022, we have a different group of people who 16 administrators were banned for having conflicts of interest, high ranking administrators, because Wikipedia has like a ranking system for who can edit. And these organizations are saying that internal sources have told them that they were all Saudis who were being incentivized by the government to go about doing this. Now, Wikimedia is saying, okay, we did have this ban. There were people who were involved in conflicting things, and there was shady stuff going on, and they were banned because of that. And some of them may have been Saudi, but they're not confirming exactly what went on here. But according to Dawn and Semex, they're saying we know people who are behind the scenes, and they're telling us that this is what was going on.
Yeah. Again,
So
I
with
just
that
don't know what
information,
okay.
that further context, what do you make of this?
I just still don't know what could they have possibly been thinking if this is all true. You know what I mean? It's just so it just seems so stupid. But yeah, I mean, you're right to be skeptical. I do want to highlight this comment by Mariam saying, I will never understand how one family in the desert was able to make the world's sole superpower bend over and take it.
Sans lube.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's pretty obvious because they found lube. They found lube under the desert. That's why. A lot of it, right? So, right.
I think out of all the Christians I know, Mariam speaks the most explicitly, and I love it.
Oh, by the way, speaking about that, I'm having a discussion with the Bread of Life about explicit content on her channel
Oh, nice. In English or Persian?
in English. In English.
Nice, nice,
So,
nice.
yeah. So, speaking about explicit content and Christians, um, yeah, check that. Subscribe to Rebecca's Bread of Life channel because she's going to convince me why porn is bad, apparently, and I will.
Oh, this is going to be juicy.
Yes, we'll see.
Oh,
We'll
poor
see.
Rebecca. I love you, Rebecca. I'm so sorry for what Armin's about to do to you. I don't
No,
know
I'm
what
going
it's
to be
going to
nice.
be, but it's probably going to be upsetting. No, I'm
Wait,
kidding.
I'm going to be nice. What are you talking about? That's not fair.
No, you are very nice. You're very nice.
Yeah.
I was just
Oh,
joking.
I know, I know.
And
People
Rebecca
say-
doesn't get phased.
No, she doesn't. She's very patient with me. She's like sometimes.
She's very patient with me.
Yeah. All right, we need to move. Is there any other comments? Oh, there's some comments by Shreyash and um, D that you might want to highlight before I bring the next news, or no?
Oh, well, wait. Shriyash?
Okay.
He's saying tribal clan structures are an extremely authoritarian social view.
Oh, okay.
In some ways.
Yeah. All right. Oh wow, Mariam actually is. Okay, Mariam is like a very unique Christian. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Thank you, Mariam. That's a very anti-Christian
With
stereotype.
children present, you're gonna say this? No one gave my friend here a good name. I'm a little bit disappointed. I was hoping to walk out of this with right now.
Leave a comment, guys, after the stream. Let us know how to. We could make a post on YouTube asking people for like with a picture of you. And people could come up with names. Yeah. Anyways, so we need to move on to the last news. Can we clap for this?
Yes, we can!
Yay! Next news.
Next news. Atheist Republic's glorious return to Twitter. Guys, we didn't talk about this yet because we had, really important stuff to talk about earlier in this year with the rest of Sohail Arabi. But we can officially announce that after, I think, a year of being suspended, I think it was over a year of being suspended, Atheist Republic is now magically back on Twitter. How did that end up happening, Armin? Did you actually file an appeal, or did suddenly one day they were just like...
No, I filed an appeal.
Oh, okay. Good.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So we're back. We're back on Twitter, guys. Amazing. I don't know for how long, but we're back for now.
Yeah, go follow us. Please go follow us.
But for people who don't know, can you explain to them why we were banned from Twitter?
Oh my gosh. So our Twitter saga goes back to Armin's sexy Kali blasphemy, which put a target on our back ever since. And basically we suffered a lot of targeted mass reporting, people filing false DMC takedown claims against us. And then finally we ended up getting banned on... Wait, no. It hasn't been a year. Not yet, because it happened. I remember. We got suspended on April 1st of 2022. And I remember because I was like, there's no way this is an April Fool's joke.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, and Twitter never told us why we were suspended. They never told us why.
It was because of
But
Kelly.
We found out why later.
Yeah.
And like they're supposed to send you an email. They're supposed to describe why we would suspend us. They would say, no, we are committed to this ban. Still wouldn't tell us why. In the court proceedings that we had for our blasphemy case in the Delhi High Court, which Twitter was a party to that case because there were some people that were so freaking butthurt over like 3 tweets we had about Hinduism that they were going to sue Twitter to remove the contents of our tweets. And basically throughout these court proceedings, Twitter agreed to remove these quote-unquote objectionable tweets from the Indian market. And they did. They followed the terms of what the court order was. A court in Delhi ordered Twitter to remove our tweets.
Yeah.
That's real. Because of blasphemy against Hinduism, which were so mild in comparison to our memes against Christianity or Islam. But the judges literally acted personally victimized because it was Hinduism. Saying, oh, you wouldn't do this if it was against other religions. Literally, what we say about them is worse! And no one cares! Anyways, suddenly after this court order came out, they fulfilled the terms of the court order, and then within 2 days of fulfilling the court, or 3 days, less than a week of fulfilling the court order, suddenly our entire account was suspended. And then later throughout, as the court proceedings went on, Twitter revealed in the paperwork that they submitted, in an affidavit that they submitted to the court that my lawyers gave me, our lawyers, excuse me, Twitter basically said that they banned Atheist Republic for so-called ban evasion, meaning Armin and I are both personally banned on Twitter as well because of this same BS, because of all this same BS that I've kind of just listed. And so they're basically saying that Atheist Republic is, Susanna and Armin trying to get around their own personal ban. But the problem with that whole argumentation is that, one, Atheist Republic's Twitter account was created almost 10 years before I ever had a Twitter. So how can Atheist Republic be me, trying to get around my own ban when it was created almost 10 years in advance? Second, it was basically conflating me and Armin as individuals with the Atheist Republic as an organization. Like, these are all 3 separate entities. They are not representative of each other. Like, we as individuals have our own personal Twitter accounts. And some of that is dedicated to representing Atheist Republic, some of it. But Atheist Republic's Twitter account is not dedicated towards representing Armin and Susanna. We're just two of the most public faces. Atheist Republic's Twitter account is towards representing our global community as an organization and a registered nonprofit in Canada and 501c3 in the United States. So saying that we're doing a ban evasion for us as individuals is not true.
We shouldn't explain that because people might use that against. But
anyways, the good news is that we're back for now. So go follow us.
Follow us, yeah. Go follow Atheist Republic on Twitter. And also, look at this suggestion. I was going to do that. Susanna didn't let me. Susanna was like, can we please try to keep this account? I'm like, fine. I was going to. So Hindustani Bao was saying, make a tweet on Kelly for revenge. I really, like, we're not even posting our blasphemy on Twitter. Like, I think it's safe to post our blasphemy on Twitter, isn't it? But I don't know.
No, we fought so hard to get it back. Sure. I just don't want to have everything go down in flames again. I spend so much of my time battling these social media platforms. I'm like, we got a small W. Can we enjoy it for a little while?
A little while. Okay, fine.
I'm still banned. I don't know why. Armin is still banned. At least he got an explanation. It's wrong, but at least he got an explanation. But we're working on it.
Anyways, we should move on. Guys, make sure you like the video. So Shiny D, that sounds like a... Okay. Sorry, Armin, for my repetitive comments. Actually, I thought that you aren't receiving my comments. Should I ask now? Well, we have like a few seconds, but we're about to end the show.
Becca's saying, don't let them silence you, Susanna.
Yeah. All right. Oh, look at this. What day did we get them back? We got this like a week ago, right?
Like a week and a half.
A week and a half. So go say Twitter is horrible. Well, it's getting, it's weird. Hearts for Susanna. Thank you, everyone. Oh my God. People are saying, but Elon Musk is a hero of free speech, you guys. So you are now free to make veiled threats and dead name trans people, but not criticize Hinduism, apparently. Yeah, guys, like Twitter, it doesn't make any sense anymore, right? Like, I mean, it never made sense, but now it's even more chaotic. We don't know what could get. There's very little communication between Twitter and the users, so we have no idea what could get us banned right now. And there's that idea of you could say anything. That's not true. Like Elon himself is responsible for actively getting people banned based on things that offend him. So we have no idea. Anyways, guys, make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the bell notification. Make sure you leave a comment once the stream is over. If you are not struggling financially, and only if you're not struggling financially, consider supporting us on Patreon. You could support us financially by becoming a YouTube member. You could also support us on PayPal. There's a link to PayPal in the description as well if you don't like Patreon or YouTube membership. Also, make sure you are subscribed to our newsletter for getting all our free blasphemous art. If you're on our newsletter, we will, there's a link that's below that says get our blasphemous art booklet for free. And then after that, you will subscribe to our newsletter and you get more art every week. So subscribe to that. And on Patreon, if you become a patron on Patreon, you get the explicit version of our art, unless Rebecca can show to me that this is all wrong. So guys, make sure you all go get it on Patreon before Rebecca convinces me that this is bad and we should stop our Patreon. Because if she convinces me, I'm going to have to remove everything, right? So you have only a few more days before you get all our juicy, explicit 18+ blasphemous art, okay? And also come watch me on Rebecca's YouTube channel, which is this one, Bread of Life, where we debate explicit pornographic content. And whether or not it's bad for humanity or good for humanity or neither, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah. Only
if
2 days.
If you guys had fun enjoying this show. Make sure to join us next week, same time. And if you learned something, if this brought value to your life and you're like, man, I wish more of my community like knew about these things, like share it with a friend. Be like, this was educational. This expanded my horizons, my knowledge, my appreciation for the world and some of the issues that are happening with it. But yes, that's the end of the show for this week. Thank you,
Oh,
everyone.
Hindustani Bao is saying, can we talk on audio call one-to-one? Yes. If you are a YouTube member, on our Q&A days, you could come up and talk to me and Secular Rarity audio one-to-one. Okay, so that's one benefit for YouTube members, right? So the main benefit to our patrons is that they get our blasphemous art and they could ask us questions ahead of time for us to answer during our Q&A. And the benefit for our YouTube members is that they could on our Q&A shows, they could come up and talk to us with audio one-to-one, right? Anyways, thank you everybody, and see you on the next show. So bye. Mwah.